welcome to the second episode of Drop Stitches podcast. I'm Sapphire Child.
I am Impact Red on Ravelry.
And we'd like to welcome you again with our beverages. Why don't you go get one? We'll wait. Okay. Yes, so today we're drinking the Motion Vineyards 2009. Whoops, sorry about that. Motion Vineyards 2009 Pinot Noir from Sonoma County. And we're drinking a wine from Sonoma County today because January 15th there was a notice put out by the Sonoma County Wine Growers Association or something. Does it say? Anyway, but Sonoma County is to become the nation's first 100% sustainable wine region, which we thought was fantastic. And so we thought to celebrate we should have something from Sonoma. And we actually are drinking something that's already from a winery that is sustainable. So let me tell you a little bit more about this, if my iPad will cooperate. So first of all, I want to tell you where I got it. There's a little boutique shop, winery in Frederick, Maryland called Spin the Bottle Wine Company. And they're just fantastic. They're the reason why you should always go to the small business, because they love what they do and they're full of information, and they really helped me out to find a couple of options for today. Went the extra 9 yards to call the wineries and ask a little bit more about their wine practice or their growing practices. So let me tell you what they found out. For the Motion Vineyards, they are already 100% sustainable. They use no pesticides at all and actually follow organic and biodynamic practices. They do use sulfites, and because of this, they don't qualify to be listed as USDA organic. They could apply for CCOF, which is California Certified Organic Farm certification, but they haven't done so because of the extra cost. That certification does allow you to use sulfites. So they're a small family-owned and operated winery and vineyard. And they're also Gravity Flow. And so Gravity Flow is where they don't use any pumps at all to move the grapes or to move the juice around to the different containers for the different stages. And supposedly this helps produce a higher quality wine, because pumping the grapes could bruise them or break them open prematurely, and it also allows more seeds and stems to get in there, which can make it more bitter. And they don't use pumps at all for any stage. So so he says that seeds can produce a bitter flavor, and so that's not wanted. And the wine, this particular wine, this Pinot Noir 2009, only 925 cases were made, because it is a small winery. Now,
is that per year?
I don't know, but presumably, because I think it's a single vineyard wine. So, usually...
So get your orders in fast.
Yeah.
We already have ours in, so stand in line.
Yeah, but this is the 2009 vineyard. I think they're also selling the 2010, so, or vintage. We also have, where we're not drinking, J. Rickards Winery, also of Sonoma, of course. The vintage is 2010. This is a Petite Syrah from their Brown Barn vineyard. This is also a single vineyard, a small winery. And this particular one...
We really like the label on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. This particular one has not used any pesticides for 20 years. They consider themselves to be stewards of the land, and they use sustainable viticulture practices that nourish the soil and produce a balanced wine. They are also working on helping threatened birds, including the western bluebird and the tree swallow. Both species live in their vineyards, and they have birdhouses specifically for them. And the advantage that gives them, of course, is the birds eat all the bugs. And this particular wine, the Brown Barn, is a very small vineyard. And they only produce 196 cases, and this particular vintage is already sold out. But again, this is the 2010 vintage, so presumably you could get, actually I'm not sure, but presumably you could get an earlier vintage, or you could just put in your orders early to get something from the next release. So, oh, and I'll go ahead and mention this one. We have a bottle here from Fritz. This is a Chardonnay, 2010, also, of course, Sonoma. And the really cool thing about this winery is that their facilities are completely underground. So, Mark of Spin the Bottle says that he's been there, and it's a really awesome place, and there's flowers everywhere, and it's wonderful, but you stand there and you go, where's the winery? Because it's completely subterranean. Anyway.
That would be a neat place to visit.
Yeah, so we didn't open all the bottles today. We just have the Motion Vineyards. And it's actually really alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's got a alcohol content is 15.5%. And and you can smell it.
We are having a party.
We are having a party, yeah. But, you know, it's a really complex Pinot Noir. It is not a casual Pinot Noir, I would say. Mm-hmm. It's a dinner party Pinot Noir. But we just ate dinner, so that's fine.
It's very good.
It has a beautiful color.
Yeah, it's like,
well, if the light was better, you'd be able to see it, but it's
pretty purple.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful burgundy purple color. Very, very crystalline and jewel tone in color. It's just, it's lovely. All right. So that's enough blah, blah, blah about wine. Okay. Perhaps we should proceed to some knitting. Let's see, where should we start?
I'll start with my finished product. Well, it's not quite finished, but it's finished
It's
enough
finished,
for this
it's
show.
cast off.
It is cast off, yes.
It hasn't had a bath yet.
It hasn't had a bath, and I still have to tuck in the poor little ends. But this is the one I was working on last time, and I guess you call it a basket weave that I kind of made up. I'm sure other people have done the same thing, so it's not like, you know, I'm the only person who's ever done this cool design. But, and it's going to be, unless, like, some male in my house steals it, it's going to be like a cowl. So it will wrap around, and I'll have some kind of, I was gonna do buttons, but I'm not gonna do buttons. So I'm gonna have a nice little fancy pin for it. Isn't that cute? So that's my finished knitting project.
And this is the yarn
Feeder Farm. It's very squishy.
It's some alpaca content. It's real soft.
I know it has blue face Lessiter in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that must be why it's kind of shiny.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Okay.
Very nice.
So that's it for my finished knitting project.
But this is finished knitting product number 2. Awesome. I'll drink to that.
Yeah, me too. Cheers.
Cheers. Alright, awesome. Alright, so let me show you my little heap of knitting over here. Alright, so last time we chatted, I was working on this. This is Clothide, whatever, by Christian Cardozo in Knit Picks City Tweed DK, the brocade color, which is a deep purple.
I love that.
And I'm sorry for the lighting. We tried to improve, but we don't really know anything about lighting, so it'll just have to be what it is. Anyway, so it's fairly large because it is DK, and I used like a little over 4 balls, I should say, of the City Tweed.
It looks almost crispy.
It is a little crispy.
I like it.
So it's a wool alpaca blend. So that means it blocks real easy. Because alpacas like that, but I don't know what gives it that crispy look.
But it does. It looks like you pressed it.
I didn't. I did stretch the snot out of it, but, you know, that's what you do when you block lace. Alright. There's that. And then the next thing I have is an Artemis shawl. This pattern is by Marissa Hernandez in Ursula's Alcove Zohar fingering. Zohar means splendor or radiance. I bought this I got free tickets to the FairyCon. Don't laugh. In DC. No, I'm sorry, it was in Baltimore. And so I went. And of course I found the one vendor that had hand-dyed yarn. And came in with 2 skeins. And
I like
this
that.
is one of them.
I don't know if they can see that, but it doesn't have that real triangular shape.
Yeah, it is.
I like this.
It is a crescent shape.
That is neat. Oh, it's almost like that other one I made.
Yeah, it's
The color affection. Yeah,
yeah,
it's crescent shape too.
This is shaped like the color affection. So,
Yeah.
and Marissa Hernandez has several patterns that are on this theme: crescent shaped shawls with a fancy edge. This is the second one of her patterns I've knit. They're very easy to read. But then again, she does chart them, and I guess I don't actually read them. I use the charts, so I guess I can't say that. The charts are great. This is a bamboo wool blend, so it's a little bit shiny. You probably can't see that on camera. Anyway, there's that. And then I have a citron in Araucana. I'm not sure how to say that. Nubel is the yarn. This is one of those fair trade yarns from Chile, I think. Of course, the tag is like impossible to read. Chile, there it is. Thusly, if you can see that. Anyway, you've probably seen this tag in your local yarn store. This was yarn I bought at the Mannings because it was really, really pretty in the skein. It turns out like clown barf.
Well, a little girl would love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely a young...
Unfortunately, it's not an expensive yarn, so I don't have to feel bad about giving it to whoever decides they like it.
I could definitely see someone under 13. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's about the right size for that.
The younger, the better, probably.
This is the second citron I have made.
I like that. It's
I didn't
really
keep
cute.
the other one either. I don't know why. It's just, I wanted to make it. I made it, and then I was like, yeah, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's a silk blend. It feels nice. Somebody will like it. There's
Yeah.
always somebody that likes it.
I'm sure that your brother's daughter will love those.
Yeah, I think that's my target.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, and then my last thing is what started out as Maru Mitts. This is a pattern by Amba, is the only name I have here. And this is leftover yarn from a color affection that I made. This is Miss Bab's Yummy Superwash Sock. And I call it the Thanksgiving Turkey colorway. So they started out as Maru Mitts, but I didn't make 2 stripes, I just did 1 color change. And the thumb is different, and there's also shaping in here that wasn't in the original pattern. But it was inspired by it, and it has the same little scallopy thing going on there, so it's close enough, don't you think? I think so. But yeah, leftovers. Almost uses, fingerless mitts almost use no yarn at all, so it's a great
So
leftovers
how much left over was this? I mean, like if you I had a ball like this big. How big was that? I don't have my leftover yarn in here.
Well, there was a pair of fingerless mitts that I made for use a few years back that were like burgundy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that used like 20 or 30 grams. Was it, or maybe it was less than a half a skein. And I want to say it was about a quarter of a skein, a standard skein of sock yarn. So, I mean, they literally don't use very much yarn. And then when you use 2 colors,
Yeah.
you know.
I have a little bit
It
left
stretches
over
it
for
even
my
further.
color affection. And I'm like, that would be really cute because I only have 2 colors left over. But I'm not sure it's enough
You
to
need to
make.
get a scale.
Oh. Probably. I have an old, like, ancient Weight Watcher scale. But I don't think it goes, like... I think it goes up to a pound, but I don't think it's accurate enough to measure that like yarn. It's for measuring beads.
You can probably get a postal scale pretty cheap. You can look into that.
Oh, I do have a postal scale. I forgot about that.
Use that.
It's a manual. You know, one of the
Yeah.
ones you know.
Old school.
You go, yeah. That's because, you know, Jackie wouldn't give me the good one.
Moving on. What's your next FO to share?
And this is another finished product that I have. This is also for my craft group. So it's not like something
That's
I came
totally
up with
cute.
on my own. I can't think of these things. But isn't this really cute? And it actually has love all over it, so it's perfect for Valentine's Day.
and whatnot.
And it's got little tabs, and it's got this little clicky thing. Isn't that neat? And look at the inside. It's quilted. You can probably see the lines in there. But the inside of here is like, say you have a tape measure that broke, and this is a tape measure in there. So you take the 2 pieces of tape measure and sew it in there.
How do you
And-
cut them?
You cut them with like metal snips,
Yeah.
and then you tape the ends so they're not so sharpy,
Okay.
and then so they don't rip your fabric up. I mean, you can put them in there without taping them, but eventually it'll wear that fabric out.
Yeah.
But isn't that cute? It's like a little, what do you call it? Makeup bag. So I can carry my makeup around in style.
You make a slightly bigger one. It can be a knitting bag.
Yeah. I think one of the ladies was going to make, or has made, a bigger one's like almost like a purse size, so a longer strap, and then they can carry it. So, I mean, you can make it in any shape as long as the top is like that.
Snappy.
Snappy, yeah.
Snappy. Okay.
That's it for my finished project.
All right. So since you did a sewing project, I'm going to show my sewing project. Check it out. I made a big ass bag.
I like that.
This is it's kind of quilted, but I quilted it with just the batting and the top layer, and so it's not as 3-dimensional as I like. I think it would have been better if I'd put the backing fabric on it first. But it is kind of quilted, and it does have batting. It's a great big shopping bag sized thing with a differently colored lining there. And so this is 1 fat quarter. Then I had 2 fat quarters for this color. And this is only part of 1 fat quarter. And then I had to have like a half a yard for the handles and the lining and the trim. So, not as much fabric as it really looks like. And probably if it hadn't been for the fact that I was using, you know, long continuous pieces of the green, then I probably would have gotten by with less because there is some left over, if I remember correctly. Anyway, great
That's
big
nice.
bag.
Very pretty.
Thank you. I'm thinking about, because I have like 8 different bags, I have like a whole bunch of fabric that I was like, I'm gonna make a bag with this, and and I already have a hoard of like reusable shopping bags, so I'm thinking about listing this for sale, and then donating the proceeds to either Days End Horse Farm Rescue or the Gentle Giants Draft Horse Rescue. So, I've never donated to Gentle Giants before, but I donate to Days End Horse Farm a lot. Anyway, there's that bag. And then I have some spinning to share. And it comes in crinkly things, because all good things come in crinkly things. Okay, let's have that. So the first thing I have here is a shockingly colored skein that was made from an art bat that I got from Hobbledehoy. Leslie. And it has, you know, lots of good things in it. I love that. I love how she does her labels. And I didn't really do any color management on this. I just sort of let it be whatever it wanted to be. Dusty. That's my word of the day, I think. So, and overall, it's kind of a red-brown color, but there's some pops of orange and a little bit of blue here and there. So, and I'm pleased with the way it turned out. It's actually fairly soft and pleasant. It's pretty. I haven't really checked
Nice
the yardage.
colors.
I always guess on my
Now
yardage.
you only do one skein when you do these, right? I mean, you brought
when I can.
just one.
Well, there was only 3.1 ounces of that bat.
Oh, okay.
So unless I were to combine it with something else,
Yeah.
I mean that 3.1 ounces is a skein.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that, but
I'm getting close enough.
then you just tuck it.
Yeah.
Yep. Very pretty.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it. When I spin things like this, I never know what I'm going to do with them. It's just for the, it's shiny and pretty kind of a thing.
Yeah, it is.
The next thing I have is, this is the bat I showed you guys last time that I got from the lovely Joanna Spring, Knit Spin Farm. Alpaca Angelina, Blueface Leicester, Merino Romney, Silk, Silk Noel, and Wensleydale. She called it Kenneal Bay White Caps. I got 2 of these, so this is 6 ounces. This is actually two skeins. I spun this on my Morning Street wheel, so it has like 3 to 4 ounce bobbins. So this is 2 skeins, and I just tie them together when I put them on the Nitty Nutty so it comes out, so I can wash it as a unit.
Now, are the colors aren't separate though, right?
They are. So I spun it in such a way to, they were kind of gradient. So they were white, the bats were both white on one side and then a slight, a slight blue and then into a medium blue and then a little bit of a dark blue. And so I ended up stripping the bats to manage the color and try to maintain that look. Sorry for the lighting isn't great, but it's because Joanna is using wools other than merino. It's soft, but it's also crispy, which makes it really pleasant to hold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very squishy and.
You know, when I look at this, I
Huggable.
think of that that stained glass pattern on that other thing. I mean, the colors. When I look at it, I think of that. What are you going to make with it?
Oh, that's okay. So we just had a little technical problem. So I don't know how much you guys missed, but I think
We were talking about this Happy Place yarn.
yeah, I was just starting to talk about this other skein of yarn. So let's just assume that's where we left off. And let me reach. Okay, label. So at SSK, my lovely roommate, Rhymes with Maria, gave me a gift of some down wool. And this is from Yarn Geek Fibers, organic hand-dyed in a colorway called Happy Place. And as I was saying, I loves me some down wools. And I didn't do any color management on this. I just spun it. I started it on a spindle, but although I like spindles, I don't spin on them very often. I'm more product oriented, I guess you could say, and the enjoyment of the process only entertains me for so long. I want to have the finished thing. So in order to actually have some finished yarn out of this, I switched to spinning on a wheel, and then I just plied it all together. So I wish I had. We're gonna have to address our lighting situation because you can't really see the colors. It is dark, but there's like teal green and browns and so on. Yeah, no lighting. Anyway, but also, squishy and huggable like down wools should be. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but this is a 4 ounce skein, so. Anyway, so that's it for my finished objects. So you want to move on to works in progress?
Sure.
I don't know. I hope this isn't a super long podcast, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I only have 2, so they'll be quick.
Okay.
Well, last time I was here, I said I'm going to do this. Looms for rag weaving. So I started it. Lo and behold, yes, I actually started something. So this is the loom. This is like a medium size. I know you can't see it, all of it. See? It can be bigger. So I made the medium size because I figured I didn't want to start too big. And then I did this. And then this part right here, if you can see that, is I just started weaving it right here. And that's as far as I've gotten. So next podcast, it'll be done, and I'll show you the finished product of how it turns out when it comes off the loom.
Maybe you should make that your Olympic project.
My Olympic project? What's
Yeah,
that?
a lot of people do. It's formerly known as the Ravolympics, now called the Ravolinics because they got a nasty letter from the Olympics peoples. But people challenge themselves to do something new or do something big or just stretch their abilities during the Olympics, which start on Friday, this coming Friday the 7th.
Oh. Yeah, that would be cool. Alright, so my next one, which actually hasn't even gotten as far as that one, is, this is called Magrathea. That's the, sorry, I'm looking at it, you're not. That's what I'm going to make. Let me see if there's a bigger picture. And I was hoping I'd get it at least started, but it didn't happen. So this is another picture of it. It's kind of pretty in that picture. And it's the first time, well, whatever, everything's new to me. First time I'm going to use a chart, so that's going to be interesting. And then I have things in here like yarn over, yarn knit 2 together, blah blah going on, because all I've ever done is purl and knit. So those will be all learning experiences for me. And this is the yarn that I'm using. I just love that shade of orange. It's like, I don't know, I call it burnt orange. It's just a really dark orange. It's got my hair on it.
That's a Miss Babs, isn't it?
It is a Miss Babs, and I don't know what happened to the tag. I brought the tag, and it's probably in the bottom of my bag somewhere.
I remember you getting it, though. I'm sure it's a Miss Babs something.
It is a Miss Babs, and it is on it's already on Ravelry, so if you wanted to see the color and all that stuff, it's already on my Ravelry. So, and that's it. That's it for stuff I'm working on.
So my works in progress include a end paper mitt. That's what it is by Uni.
So you
Uni
picked
Jane.
this. This is the one you asked us about, right? This is
No,
not
I
the
haven't
colors?
started that. No, that was purple and green.
Oh, that would be pretty. You know what? Because I was thinking about that too. Because after I sent my response to you, I thought about you had made a cup holder for me
In the
It's
same
blue.
pattern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the same pattern. It was a light blue and a dark blue. It was really pretty. I'm like, oh, that would look really pretty. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, so what she's referring to is that I thought I'd do a little crowdsourcing with the ladies in my family, and said, sent them a picture of like this purpley skein and a green skein that came from, I can't remember who I got them from. Anyway, and gave 2 shawl patterns and a cow mitt set. And what do you guys think I should make, right? And they all said the same thing. And I immediately realized I didn't really want to make that thing. So I haven't made it. I haven't done anything with the yarn so far, but this is Knit Picks palette, which is and again, lighting is
So you wanted
fantastic.
to make the shawl hand mitt pattern?
I think I want to make the mitts pattern.
Well, I can just
The mitts and
redo
cowl
my
pattern.
reply and send it back to you.
That's right. Stacking the deck. This is what I want you all to say, even though I'm giving you a choice. So, end paper mitts. Yeah, that kind of turn it towards the light. You can see it a little bit if you squint. Anyway, so I have one mitt mostly done. I just need to do the thumb, and the other one is cast on, but haven't gotten very far with that. And that's in my Folly and Nonsense bag in the Funky Little Sheeps print. I don't know what she calls this print, but I thought it was awesome, so I had to buy a bag from her that was like
So
that.
where does she get her print? Does she just go to the
I have
fabric
no
store?
idea.
Oh, okay.
No, you know, a lot of people buy prints like that online.
Okay. So it's like, you can't just go to Joann's or
I
something.
did talk to her about that, you know, and she said, you know, in a casual way, not like, where'd you get this stuff? But she's like, yeah, I have a great time picking out fabrics. And I was like, sure you do, because they're awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then my second FO that I brought to share is a spinning project. I had, a couple of years ago, I bought 4 braids from Gnome Spun Yarn of Gotland Top. And 2 were this, you know, kind of hand-dyed multicolor thing. And there's like a burnt orange and some pink in it. And it's, the base, it's not a white base. So it's like a heathered base. So so that's partly why it's dark, and it also has, you know, some little dark spots in it from that. That always makes for a nice deep color. So I've got 2 of those, and both of those are spun. And this is on my Hanson mini spinner. You probably recognize the bottom of the bobbin. And then I have a 3rd braid, which is straight up like a dark pepper red kind of color. And although I had different plans for them when I bought them, you know, plans are for suckers. So I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to spin all 3 and just ply all 3 together to even them out. I was going to do like a color work project with them, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I don't think there's enough variation between them for that to really be worth the effort. So I'm spinning it reasonably fine. So, you know, maybe we'll end up with a fingering or a sport weight out of this, and there should be plenty of yardage because the total weight is going to be 12 ounces of fiber. Okay, and the very last thing I wanted to do was I'm going to do another crowdsourcing experiment. And this all has to do this whole crowdsourcing and what is your opinion nonsense. This has to do with I want to participate in Joanna's Stash Love thing, where you're supposed to, you know, get inspiration from the outside world in some fashion.
And then ignore it.
And then, yeah, no. And then make stuff. Stop. So this is some deep stash right here. This is vintage loop from I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago. I don't know, whatever. When she first started making bats. So I've got 4 little batlets that look like this. They're layered in color. They're like mint green on one side and like a blue black on the other. And then so I got, like I said, I have 4 of those. And then I have a little sack of silver blue mohair locks that came with it. And I've never really known what to do with it. So I need some suggestions. What should I do? Should I spin these in, you know, just randomly spin in from the locks? Should I try to... I swear I've seen somewhere where someone has taken locks and, like, you know, kind of trapped them between plies. And I'm not fond of the appearance of tailspun yarn, so I'm not, you know, don't suggest to me that I do tailspun where there's like, you know, big bits of stuff hanging out, because I'll never knit with that yarn, so I won't spin yarn like that. But I'm sure there's lots of other ways I could use these with these bats and get an awesome yarn that I would knit with. So I'm open to suggestions. Leave us some comments on the blog or PM me on Ravelry. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay. I think, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, that was probably a pretty long podcast, but since our camera failed halfway through, I don't actually know how long we've been recording. So,
for all you know, you might see, hey,
but
and then
nothing.
ending.
Right. But if you guys have been drinking along, maybe you don't care. It's all
It's the
good.
best podcast ever.
Oh, before we stop, I should mention this. As a Christmas present, my friend Erin Mitz Squares, I think it's her Ravelry name, gave me this lace shawl, or lace scarf. And this is the Candle Flame well, it's called the Candle Flame Shawl, and it's Knit Picks pattern, I think a free pattern. And they published it both as a shawl and as a scarf version, which is just one is smaller than the other. And I remember when it came out, we both talked about how we were going to make it and how great it was and blah, blah, blah. And neither of us ever did it. I mean, it's been out for like years, like 7, 8 years or something like that. Well, so she finally made one and she gave it to me for Christmas. And this is a Knit Picks yarn, the alpaca one, Alpaca Cloud, I think it is, in the Raspberry Heather colorway, I think, which is a color that when you look at the Knit Picks website, it looks more jewel tone, and then when you get a skein of it in your hands, you realize it's kind of brown. And it doesn't look terribly attractive in the skein, but once she knit it up, I think it turned out really pretty. So I had to share that too. And I think this is the first knitted gift I've ever gotten, at least as an adult. I know I got some as a kid, but so that was awesome. Thank you, Erin. Okay.
Guess that's it.
That's enough blah blah.
Yes.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.